Casanovians. Yes, Casanovians. All right, lads. I just wanted to do one of these little late night live streams. Just kind of kick back, relax. I've had a crazy couple of weeks or so. So I thought, I don't know, thought I'd just kick back and make one of these and hopefully just give you an immense amount of useful utility that you can go forth and conquer the world with. And yeah, I've just finished a 3 day one-on-one immersion with one of my coaching clients, and over the course of these 3 days, he did 100 direct daytime cold approaches. And if you've ever been out there and you've cold approached yourself, you'll know how daunting that can actually feel. My philosophy on cold approach is really straightforward. To get proficient at the skill, you want to do at least 100 daytime approaches. Yeah, that's going to allow you to not just get better at the skill. That's kind of a byproduct. Like, yeah, you will get better at the skill, but it's more so you're doing these approaches to shift identity. Yeah, it's not a case of you're going out there chasing women. You're chasing an identity. Yeah, you're becoming the type of guy who can pull the trigger, act on immediacy, go after the things that you want. And you'll realize when you are first putting yourself out there, whether it's with me, with another coach, or maybe for whatever masochistic reason, you are trying to do all of this on your own, which is, I've kind of got to a point now, dude, where I'm just like, it literally makes no sense. Yeah, unless you've got some sort of coaching booked in and you're doing approaches in the lead up to that coaching experience to get some momentum behind you, trying to learn this skill on your own in 2025 is honestly fucking stupid. And I understand that sounds like marketing. It's like, oh, of course you're going to say that you're selling coaching. But this is the feedback that I got from the guy that I was coaching over these 3 days. He'd been watching my videos for 2 years. And as we were going around London over these 3 days, the things that he was doing, the approaches that he was having, the results which he was getting, 30 approaches in on that first day, he's saying to me, dude, I understand it now. I understand when you say this is not a solo sport. This is an extreme sport and it's also a team sport. I understand now why you say, for fuck's sake, don't be doing this on your own. Because it's not saying that you can't quote unquote get results. It's how much time are you going to be pissing away on learning this? Yeah, because in 3 days, this guy's done 100 daytime approaches. So we just turned decades into days. And what he learned over these 3 days is it goes so much deeper than just talking to women. Yeah, like when you're out there in the field, you get this mirror held up to you. Okay, you learn about who you actually are. It's the most aggressive form of self-development on the planet is daytime approach. Yeah, I've worked with crypto millionaires, I've worked with athletes, I've worked with guys who are personal trainers, guys who have got it all on paper, these high achieving dudes who've made the cash, they've got the fitness, the finances, the fashion on point, but it's almost like their internal hasn't caught up with their external. Yeah, when they're in their approaches or they think about doing their approaches, it's like they're not actually there. It's like this lower socially conditioned self is showing up. And that's what I find that this is. This really is a rebellion against the ordinary. Yeah, it's a reactionary movement to a society that wants to keep you shackled. Oh, be a good boy. Ask for permission when you're allowed to go for a shit. Oh, don't approach that girl because it's creepy, it's weird. And you've probably seen it yourself. You've probably felt it yourself. Where you see that beautiful woman and then these excuses start pouring in. Oh, she looks busy. Maybe I should wait for a better time. Everybody's watching. I think she might be a man. That's one of the classics. The classics. Oh, I think she might be a man, bro. And you're stood there like a deer in headlights, living your life like a closet heterosexual. And the worst part is, these thoughts are not even your thoughts. Okay? These are thoughts which have been conditioned into you from a young age. Yeah? And the conditioning is so strong, you started to think it's true. Yeah, you started to associate with these thoughts. Oh, don't talk to strangers. Cold approaching women is creepy. You have to swipe on apps. You have to try and get women through your social circle. You have to get drunk in nightclubs because that is a preordained script society's feeding you. And eventually, guys get to a point where they start questioning things. Yeah, they start asking, is this true? Is this true for me? What do I believe to be true about the world that isn't? And what I've found is because it is the most aggressive form of self development, when you're putting points on the board and you're just getting reps in, every approach is this investment into an identity of the man who you want to embody. And every time you don't approach that girl, you are actively saying to society, hey, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy being a comfortable, programmable pawn in someone else's game. And so the guy that I worked with over this weekend done 100 daytime approaches. And I think the transformation, it needs to be understood that it's so much deeper than just going out there, talking to women, getting some phone numbers. It's who you're becoming through this process. And then that identity which you're chasing, that spills into everything else that you're doing. You develop this action taker aura. The feedback that I get from guys when they work with me one-on-one is, I can't believe how intense your energy actually is. I don't even think that these videos do me justice, especially the infield videos. Guys think that they kind of know me by watching infield content. It's like, dude, when you're with me one-on-one in person, it's like a hurricane is about to hit you. You've got no idea what that's going to be like because proximity is power, right? Success is contagious. And I would say that my clients become successful through osmosis. Because I live and breathe this stuff, my approach to life rubs off on my clients. Like the guy in question did his 100 approaches, but purely just by spending this time with me, he's walking through the streets of London different now. He's carrying himself like a king. He's no longer ashamed of his desires. He's no longer apologizing for being a guy. Yeah, he now sees beautiful women, and rather than thinking to himself, oh, she's nice. Oh, well, what if? Yeah, I can't approach her. I don't have the skill yet. Now, every woman is approachable. Yeah, I was literally pushing him because this is what guys need. Yeah, you're not gonna transform by watching free videos on the internet. Yeah, if free videos were useful, everyone would have a six pack and be banging lingerie models, right? Like watching free videos and expecting transformation is like sniffing a condom wrapper and expecting to lose your virginity. Yeah, at some point you realize free content is not going to cut it. And if you're a guy in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, the question that I always ask guys is, how much longer are you going to piss away? Yeah, you could spend 3 days with someone like me or someone else who maybe you resonate with. And I'm not saying that after these 3 days, your life is changed. No, that's stupid. Yeah, what I do is not a magic bullet. It's not a quick fix. But when you spend 3 days with someone like me and I install this skill into your lifestyle, it gives you a glimpse of what's possible, okay? It's kind of like, I went to Dubai last year and I went to this $15,000 networking event. So it was 3 days in Dubai and you sit around a table with high achieving entrepreneurs and everybody's talking about how much money they're making. I remember one of the guys was like, yeah, we're currently stuck. We've hit a revenue ceiling. We're currently, bringing in about $1 million a month. I'm like, I'm spitting my Coca-Cola out. I'm like, motherfucker, $1 million a month. And, you hear these crazy numbers and, a long time ago, back when I first started my channel, back when I had zero money, zero understanding about finances, I didn't understand the world. I didn't really know what money was. I didn't understand how the world actually worked. I didn't realize there were people on this planet who were capable of making $1 million a month. I used to think coaches were scams. I used to think courses were scams. I used to think that paying for information was a scam, and that's why I was broke. Yeah, that's why I was a loser. That's why I was where I was 5 years ago. I was a porn addict. I had erectile dysfunction. I never really got the women that I wanted. I always settled for the ones I thought I could get. My dating life up to that point was bang average at best. And I realized one day, do you know what, Christian? No one's coming to save you. Where you are right now is exactly where you deserve to be. Why? Because We don't get what we deserve, we get what we think we deserve. Yeah, I was putting out a frequency to the world. That was my best right there. Yeah, I understood it wasn't about doing my best, it was about doing what's necessary. So when you're around people who think bigger, who have this obsession with progression, if you're around a guy who's done hundreds of thousands of daytime approaches and you're getting feedback after every single approach, that's how you turn decades into days. Oh, my little extension lead just fell off. That's not a euphemism, although it could be. And something that we really are focused on during these 3 days was just nailing what was actually important. So, and this is really practical value here, so you might want to maybe pay attention. I don't know, you can do it, it's your life. But really, when it comes to daytime approach, I think the reason why my clients get the best results out of everybody in this entire industry. By the way, you can look at, there's a link below this video. Don't worry, it's not to a landing page. It's my testimonials page. I think we live in a trust recession at the moment, right? You've got a lot of people making big claims online. But whenever people make big claims, I'm like, all right, motherfucker, back up your claims. Evidence has got the loudest voice. So if you go on that link below this video, it'll take you over to my testimonials page, not a landing page. And you'll actually be able to listen to guys who've worked with me in real life, members of my private community, the Entourage. And you'll be able to listen to their experiences for yourself. Guys in their 50s, guys in their 20s, guys in their 30s, entrepreneurs, business owners, high-achieving, busy professionals, teachers, actors, guys who thought they were too old, guys who thought they were too young, Indian guys, black guys, Japanese guys. I've worked with over 200 guys at this point, and what I found to be true is the whole dating landscape is stupidly overcomplicated right now. It's like we're trying to fix a primal issue with intellectual answers. Yeah, you're not going to think your way towards confidence. You're not going to think your way towards a better dating life. You get it by becoming the version of yourself who you need to be. So like a lot of people talk about belief. Yeah, oh, you need to believe in yourself, bro. That's okay. But what if you've not yet proved to yourself you can do the thing? Yeah, it's okay to believe that you could get a girlfriend through cold approach. That's a nice belief to have. It's certainly better than not believing it. But what is better in my experience is to prioritize behaviors over belief, because beliefs follow action. So rather than believing you can get great at cold approach and then just mentally masturbating by watching in-field videos, what you need to understand is you are what you pretend to be. It's not fake it till you make it. It's make your actions align with your ambitions. So if you did get a girlfriend through daytime call approach, how would you do that? And then you reverse engineer it. So really what you do is you prioritize the behaviors of a guy who's already winning. So a guy who's already winning with women, let's just break it down. Let's break down what he's doing. Well, he's probably approaching a shit ton of women. He's probably already done 100 daytime approaches. He's probably been rejected more than anybody else who he knows because he's just taken more shots than anybody else he knows. He's probably released his need for universal approval. Yeah, he's probably no longer attached to his ego. He's no longer trying to sustain this level of self-preservation. Yeah, he's just got to a point where I would describe him as socially sovereign. Yeah, he's living for an audience of one. He understands that most women are not going to be into him, and that's completely fine, because when you see the world through the lens of what I teach, which is anti-game, not game, game's fucking weird, right? Game will have you try and pretend to be something you're not. Yeah, this is the problem with old school pickup. It teaches lines, it teaches routines, it teaches you how to pretend to be what you think a woman wants. But it never asks the true question, which is, who are you trying to be attractive for? Because at some point, the mask is going to slip. Yeah, at some point, she's going to realize you're not the guy you were pretending to be. Yeah, old school pickup was built from a place of deceit. It was built from a place of lack. It was say this thing in the hopes that she likes you, but it wasn't you she was falling for. She was falling for the idea of you. Yeah. So would you not rather walk over to that woman and show up as you are, as opposed to how you think she wants you to be. Because I fell into this trap for so many years, dude. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress at best. You know, I still have a donut every now and again. I know, bad boy. But you know, I would have these relationships with girls where I was putting on an act. You know, at one point I was trying to be the alpha, high value dude. You know, trying to be suave and almost negate my true personality because, you know, I think my true personality is quite eccentric. It's quite extreme. I'm quite a crazy character, you know, with the fucking haircut and unnecessarily wearing sunglasses and, you know, my choice of attire and the way that I speak, the way that I orchestrate my sentences. Like, I'm just quite an off the wall person. And the more I tried to dilute that, the worst thing was it actually worked, but it worked for the wrong people. So I was attracting women that I was never meant to get, but they were falling for an idea of me rather than the actual me. So what I teach now, anti-game artistry, it's about ripping up the rule book. It's about burning down every false idea of yourself and saying to the world, this is me, take it or leave it. And when you do that, your dating strategy is no longer about being attractive. It's being repulsive. Yeah. Not repulsive in some vulgar, obnoxious way. It's repulsive in the sense that you will naturally repel the wrong women and the right women will stampede towards you. Because this is why the majority of dating advice online is fucked. Because it teaches men how to be attractive, you know, get more muscle, make more money, get your eyebrows threaded. But really the game is about removal. It's not about addition. It's attraction through subtraction. Yeah, it's what can you remove? And it's removing the facade. It's removing the bullshit. And through daytime approach, it's the most aggressive form of self-development because it forces you to be real. Yeah, walking over to a woman and declaring your desire in a non-needy way, that's about as real as it gets. But you might have had situations. I was actually just speaking with a guy about 1 hour ago. So a guy who's interested in working with me and joining the entourage next year, fucking hell, going back in time. It's like some Doctor Who shit. And he was saying to me that he's going out there, he's approaching at the moment. But when he's in his approaches, he feels not himself. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever had this where you approach a girl, but it doesn't feel like you are actually there because you might be a social guy in your everyday life. Yeah, you might be social with your friends, you might be social with your family. One-to-one, you actually might be quite social. But when you're in front of a girl on a busy street, yeah, an attractive girl who's looking at you, you know, you think everybody's watching. It's almost like a different version of you comes out. It might feel like you're starting to do more people pleasing. You might feel your conversations are more platonic. You might be able to almost see yourself in real time. And you're thinking, what am I even saying? This isn't even me. And you might walk away from that approach and you feel frustrated and you feel pissed off because it didn't feel like you truly delivered your true self in that conversation. Yeah. And that can create bad momentum for a person because then they start to tell themselves a story that, oh, this isn't me. This isn't for me. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. And the problem is, and I wish people could understand this. The problem is you have to get these 100 approaches done in a condensed time period, right? Doing 100 approaches over the space of 5 years. Like, it's not going to do a lot for you, right? Fair play for getting out and doing it. But when I'm working with guys, we're doing these 100 approaches in 3 days. Yeah. We're just condensing all of this time. I'm pushing you into approaches so you don't even have the choice to think anymore, right? I'm literally hijacking your brain for a weekend. And you're going to walk away from that experience thinking, whoa, like this is kind of crazy. I can't believe I've done 100 daytime approaches in the space of like accumulatively 15 hours, let's say. But then a lot of times people are like, yeah, but what happens after that? Like what happens to your guys after they've done 3 days with you? Surely they're just going to go back to square one. Yeah. And this is unfortunately what happens with most coaching clients in this space. Yeah, guys who are not associated with me, usually they'll find some bozo online who's got some decent infields, and then they'll do one of these random weekend boot camps. But the problem is the experience ends at the end of that weekend. It's like going to a Tony Robbins event, right? On the Sunday, you're riding high. By the next Sunday, you're crying in your fucking bathtub thinking, was it all a dream? So the way that my program works is those 3 days, that in-person coaching is just the start. So traditionally, I work with my guys for at least 1 year. So we start off with the in-person coaching. I just give you everything you need. I install my system that's already worked for over 200 guys. Again, see the testimonials, click the link below, see proof here. You can listen to some stories from actual Entourage members, guys that I've personally coached. Listen to their stories. Evidence has got the loudest voice. And then once those 3 days are finished, you become part of the entourage. Yeah, you become part of my private network of social savages, the most capable wingmen on the planet. Yeah, guys who've been trained by me. And the beautiful thing about the entourage is not only are you getting coached by me in person, but you're becoming part of a network of guys who have become socially sovereign savages, meaning you're able to become successful through association. Yeah, so we have regular in-person meetups. Guys fly out to different cities, they wing together, they go to the gym together, they go out for dinners together. But when you become part of a group of guys who are all fighting the same mission, who are all pushing in the same direction, success becomes your default. Yeah, so this is why I get the best results, because I'm working with my guys until they get the results that they want. Yeah, I've had guys work with me 6 months later, they've met their fiance. One of my guys, who many of you will know by this point, Graham, a 50-year-old guy working as a teacher. He spent 3 decades terrified of talking to women. Within a week of working with me, he got himself a 25-year-old girlfriend. He sent me a voice message the other month. He's like, dude, that experience that I had with you out in Krakow, me and my girlfriend are still going strong. And I just want to say thank you, because this is something that I didn't think was possible for somebody like me. And I've got lots of these stories. I know it works by now because it's already worked for over 200 individuals. And it works as long as you do. Like I say, it's not a magic bullet. I don't work with weirdos. You need to have something about you. My coaching is not for normal, everyday guys. I'm really out here for the mavericks, the rebels, the renegades, the guys who understand that this goes so much deeper than just talking to women. And they understand that through something like Daytime Approach, you are overriding so much of this conditioning. Yeah, because you might be looking around at your current friendship group, you might be thinking, yeah, these guys, they really don't get it. You might have tried to convince your friends to go out and approach with you, but they've got these mind viruses, right? They're probably telling you things like, oh, nah, dude, that's creepy, or, oh, maybe I need to have a few more pints first, or maybe they see you approach and they shame you for it. People want to see you do well. They don't want to see you do better than them, because it holds a mirror up to who they could have been. But once you've done 100 approaches, it will genuinely change your life, but you need to make sure you do it in a condensed period of time. Otherwise, it's kind of just like wanking in the wind. Yeah, just doing one approach today and then another approach 3 weeks from now. Yeah, it's better than nothing, but you want to just start viewing this as you become what you practice. And if you want to become this hyper social individual who's able to get dates on demand, open whoever he wants, that is a superpower. And that's really something we explore this on a daily basis in the entourage. So we've got a private WhatsApp group where we're having conversations on a daily basis about evolutionary psychology, making money online, the true essence of cold approach. And the phrase of like open and close keeps coming up. Like all cold approach comes down to, in its essence, is open and close. That's it. Yeah. All of this nonsense online, like, dude, have you ever been in this position where you've wanted to approach a woman, but you've just felt so overwhelmed in your head about all of the advice you've consumed? Maybe you've consumed a lot of red pill content, looks, money, status. Maybe you've consumed a lot of black pill content. Oh, it's just height and jawline. You know what I mean? It's like, as long as you're tall and you've got a nice jaw, then women are going to be flocking their way towards you. It's like, motherfucker, I've had the same jaw and I've had the same height for the... That's sad. I think we're back now. I'm actually not sure what this will look like on the replay, but if people are still with me, do me a favor, drop the stream a like. But no, I was just saying there that a lot of people have this misconception that all you need to be is this good-looking alpha Chad. and all of a sudden beautiful women are going to be flocking towards you looking for shags. And it's just not true. It's just not true. Like, I've built myself now into a better looking version of myself. Yeah, if you go back onto my older videos, you'll be able to see what I used to look like. But just because I've built myself into a more attractive looking guy, I still need to pull the trigger. I still need to approach. I still need to risk being quote unquote rejected. And I think the problem is guys have ingested so much of this content from absolute morons online. Guys who don't even approach, guys who don't even go out into the field. Like, dude, you cannot take cold approach advice from somebody who doesn't have infields. You just can't, right? You can't take advice. You can't even take dating advice from somebody who doesn't have evidence of what they're actually doing. Yeah, anybody can make talking head videos. Anybody can just sit behind the screen and talk about how to build attraction, how to create instant chemistry on the spot, talk a big game. But you need to see them in the field practicing what they preach. You need to also see them being rejected as well. That's why I put out my rejection reels, because I'm not some god, even though sometimes I like to think that. I'm getting rejected. I get rejected more than anybody else that I know. Yeah. And it's because I'm putting myself into more shots than anybody else that I know. But a lot of times you experience failure in advance because of analysis paralysis. Yeah. You've consumed so much content that your head is just ballooning with information. But it's not information that you need, it's implementation. So if you can do 100 daytime cold approaches in the space of 3 days, ideally, you've got somebody like me to give you feedback. So when I work with my guys one-on-one, I don't do any of that group coaching bollocks. I've got wireless microphones, so I can actually listen in and give them individually tailored feedback after every single approach. And I think that's what really helps to transmute those decades into days. But if you're stuck in this trap at the moment of just consuming lots of content and doing nothing with it, it's quietly destroying your confidence. Do you know what I mean? Because you're seeing women who you want to approach, and then you might be like, now is not the right time. I need more theory. I need to be in a better state. But it's like the years just roll by, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I've worked with plenty of guys in their 50s. I actually worked with a guy last week, a 52-year-old guy, incredible immersion experience. Ended up going on 3 dates after our immersion, one of which was with a university student, shout out. And all the guys in their 50s, even guys in their 30s, they'll always say to me, you know what, Christian, I wish I'd have just started this a decade earlier, you know? And I don't know, man, it's interesting for me because you just realize the conditioning which is polluting the minds of men, living lives like closet heterosexuals, ashamed of their desires, ashamed of being men. I think that's another benefit of joining a community of guys is you don't feel alone anymore. Do you know what I mean? You don't feel weird for wanting to go out there and approach. But the thing that I was saying before about open and close, like that is all it comes down to. Yeah, it's just open and close. That's it. It's just like in sales. It's open and close. And that's really what we're repping out during the one-on-one coaching experience. We're focusing so much time on the stop, right? Which means getting in front of the girl, making strong eye contact, approaching like you actually mean it, giving her a strong, hard-hitting compliment, like none of that weak shit. Yeah, none of that like, oh, excuse me, you look nice. What I noticed about you was, oh, you might be French. When I think about France, I think about you on a unicycle with a baguette under your armpit. And it's like all of this convoluted nonsense, right? You don't need any of this shit. You might be watching coaches online and they've got incredible verbal game, right? They're like verbally bamboozling the girl. And you might be thinking, damn, I'm not that smooth. There's no way I could do that. There's no way I could put on this type of performance, which is what it is, dude. It looks great on camera, but that is not what turns a girl on, right? What turns a girl on is when you speak directly to her biology and not her psychology, right? And this is what guys don't understand. Female attraction triggers are so much different compared to men's. Yeah, as men, we're very attracted to the visual. We're very attracted to novelty, right? But for women, it's more of this emotional attraction. right? They're turned on by narrative, by story, by character traits like dominance, assertiveness, leadership, being a risk taker, being a maverick, a pirate. So the narrative is different. And this is why something like the fucking black pill just needs to die, because it assumes that men and women have the same attraction switches. And it's complete and utter bullshit. And it means that men are now living like divas. Men are now living like women, getting their eyebrows plucked or getting their legs snapped in Turkey so they can become 7'2" or some other random cosmetic shit. And look, if you want to do things because it genuinely improves your confidence, and I think it's good to define what confidence is. For me, confidence is just the removal of doubts. That's all it is. Yeah, a lot of people give you the advice like, just be confident, bro. What they're really saying is just remove as much doubt as possible. And the way you do that is by doing what terrifies you as often as possible. After you've done 100 daytime approaches with me, you ain't going to be experiencing a lot of doubt anymore. It doesn't mean that you're going to wake up the next morning and just be completely socially free. No, every day is a new challenge, right? Every day when I wake up, I'm in quite an introverted state. Yeah, I would prefer to just stay in my little man cave, stay on my own, not really talk to anybody. But for me, every day it's a momentum builder, right? It's like you have to build your way into the day. So I'll wake up, I'll take a freezing cold shower, I'll walk outside, I'll say hello to a few people, I'll banter with the barista, I'll call some of my guys, I'll drop some voice messages into our private WhatsApp group, I'll make a live stream, I'll chat to my mum. I'm just constantly flexing that social muscle because it's so easy to sink back into default. But now, because I've taken so many reps, like my default is just being a social guy. But I didn't start off this way. I think this is the issue with guys who only come across my content now. I think a lot of guys have this misconception that I've always been social, I've always been extroverted, I've always been outgoing. And it's not true. At 13 years old, I had terrible social anxiety. I couldn't even talk to my own family members. I used to break out into these weird sweating fits when I got put on the spot to answer questions at school. So it's happened because I made it happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think any of us sort of pop out the womb being #confident. And really, when I'm coaching my guys, I'm seeing former iterations of myself in them. I see my 13-year-old self inside of them. And yeah, I push my guys. Yeah, I'm hard on them. Yeah, I want them to win. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone who's associated with me, the way that I see it is like, I'm going all the way to the top and I'm taking my people with me. You know what I mean? Like anybody who is investing in me right now, everything that I'm learning on my #journey, I'm feeding it into my network. I would say to anybody, I spoke on a live stream with Ephraim the other evening, and I was saying that anybody who comes across my content right now, this is like Bitcoin in 2008. Like, I don't actually think anybody realizes the true trajectory that I'm on. I don't think anybody really understands that my delusions of grandeur are not even delusional. Like the empire visions that I see in my mind, the places that I'm going, the people I'm connecting with, the achievements that I've already stacked, even from 5 years ago. Just go back and watch the oldest videos and just see how much of a cretin I actually was. But I've always had this delusional optimism that whatever I set my mind to, I will achieve it. Yeah, and I think more of you guys watching this, you just need this. We speak about this in the entourage. You need to be more narcissistic, especially if you're doing something like daytime approach. This is a really important thread of the stream, so allow me to just expostulate my way through it. Like you need to be more narcissistic. You need to rate yourself. You need to be living like the main character in your own movie. Because a lot of guys, it's like they're not really rating themselves. Like when Cristiano Ronaldo comes off the football field, he's not like, yeah, I had a decent match. He's like, motherfucker, I was the man of the match there. Hat-trick, my team is shit. And this is like the level of grandiosity that we need. You know what I mean? I've got a free course. It's called my Most Fuckable Man course, because it's okay right now if you don't rate yourself. Yeah, it's okay if you're low on confidence. It's okay if you've got a lot of doubt. Like I had that for years. Like I've gone through many dark seasons where I've doubted myself. I've hated myself. I've had bad thoughts that I'm not proud of having. But through all of that, I think what's so important is that you have delusional optimism about the man that you're going to be. And I think that's something that rubs off on my clients. Like when I have conversations with guys, we're talking about becoming millionaires, talking about making 100 grand months, talking about, just taking over the world. just traveling to all these, new places, just all this shit. It's just like, I don't know, the energy's palpable, but you don't really understand it until you live in it. You know what I mean? Until you've actually spent time with me, you don't really get it. It's not really transmuted through the screen. But I think just being more narcissistic,